you want to do something about the New York teams, or do you want to do the most baffling picks and moments?
Why don't we go baffling picks and moments?
Okay, should we discuss the Nakobe Dean of it all?
Yeah, let's do it.
Because that was a big one coming out of it, of why is Nakobe Dean sliding? And anyone who listened to us through these what feels like an exhaustive amount of episodes. I think we ended up doing 6 hours total or something, covering the draft and the run up to the thing in an excruciating deal, some would suggest. I was banging on this thing about the linebackers, right? And I understand he's got the pec injury, he's got to have the surgery, but David Ajabo tore his Achilles.
Yeah.
And he's a get off and go athlete, and no one knows what he'll look like when his Achilles is repaired, and he was still taken the second round. So I think so much of this, as I was saying through the process, is linebacker fit is now so essential. It's why K Walker goes 20th overall and Dean goes in the third round, because you have to be drafting linebackers such specific requirements with how the league is fitting the run up now, that one guy was always going to be a complete stunner, either like Muma going in the first round or a guy completely dropping out. And what's odd is I thought Dean better fit the mold everyone was running to. He fits that Staley Fangio style of defense they're all shifting to, and yet he's the guy who fell. Is it just injuries, you think?
I mean, I can't think of anything else that it can be. I mean, I love the quote from Harry Roseman where he said that he went to every time they went to Georgia on scouting trips, he asked every player, offense, defense, special teams, who is the best player on your team? And he said to a single man, he never got another answer other than Nakobe Dean out of all of these different players. Like he said, he spoke to 10, 12 different players. And I think that's ultimately so telling. And when you look at, we talked about it pre-draft, you look at, everybody said, oh, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is going to fall because he's small, he's slight, is he a safety? Is he what's he going to do? He's 224 pounds, 229 pounds or whatever. And we'll never make that mistake again after he turns up for Cleveland, has a great year. And then you have a guy like Nakobe Dean, instincts for days, absolutely, a great leader. You look at what he was doing in the SEC championship game or in the national championship semi-final, screaming at guys who were lined up incorrectly and, admonishing them for lining up incorrectly. And then when they did line up correctly and made a big play, he's the first to celebrate with them. I just absolutely love that. The leadership's off the charts. Everybody that I spoke to that had him on an interview, either at a 30 visit or at the combine, just said, he was absolutely fantastic in the room, straight business, intense. I don't understand. That was an absolute head scratcher. And to see him continue to fall felt like there were a point where I was just thinking, like, there must be something so bad with the medical, Carson Strong like with the medical,
Yeah.
where he's just going to fall and somebody's going to pick him in the 5th, 6th round. It'd just be so ridiculous.
It reached a point with me where I was thinking, is this some kind of Lyle Collins thing where a news is going to break? There's a really bad story we're not aware of that is happening right now and teams are gathering information. And yet all we got was, oh yeah, you might have to have pec surgery.
Yeah.
So what?
Is that it?
It can't. And even me, who's been banging on about, the league's moving to the pterodactyls and it's zone coverage now, so you got to get in passing lanes, and you want someone who can slide down to the edge and can also play off the line. And his skill set doesn't really fit that because of obviously the arm length issues. I mean, first of all, he blew shit up anyway, Georgia. Now maybe you think that doesn't translate to the NFL. You can't just run through, can't rock your way through someone with your shoulder without arm length in the NFL. I mean, I'd like to at least give it a try if I was drafting a team.
Absolutely.
And the thing that's really exciting for him, at least, and it's a shame because that pec injury will have cost him a ton of money, which is unfortunate, but at least he got to a spot now where the Jordan Davis thing goes way beyond being former teammates. But if you're the Eagles and you're drafting Jordan Davis and they ran the most bland vanilla defense in the league last year, now they really have to change the outlook of that to make Jordan Davis work. And if they took him that high in the draft, you would imagine they would do that. And by adding Nakobe Dean, now you are all in. And we are a zone pressure outfit. We're running as much of the Georgia stuff as possible. We do Vic Fangio stuff on first down. We run all the Georgia stuff on third down. Wipe your hands and let's get going. So hopefully that two-man tandem works well if the Eagles are willing to evolve.
Yeah, I think I just think they got great value there. It's just a really good pick, really good player who in 5 years' time we're going to turn around and go, how did he fall to the third round?
Any other baffling picks moments for you?
I suppose the Cole Strange one I thought was interesting. I thought he was excellent at the Senior Bowl. You throw on that Kentucky tape, first game of last season. I thought he played really well. It just felt like, and people talked about Logan Mankins, and that was the first name that came to my head in terms of, is that real value? I just thought what the Patriots did generally was really strange, in terms of taking a Pierre Strong and then coming back with Kevin White and Tyquan Thornton, good player, but I just wasn't necessarily sold on the value there. But the Cole Strange pick, I think, Bailey Zappi, who we talked about, and so you got Matt Jones, that felt like a wasted pick.
And then they signed De'Aaron King. Why would you not just have De'Aaron King, Brian Hoyer, and have that be the quarterback room?
It just feels so just feels so odd. I don't really know what they're doing. I don't think Bill's drafting has been amazing. I think actually last year, you know, probably bailed him out of, because I think, and why wouldn't it? But all the Super Bowls have sort of rather glossed over the fact that he's not a very good drafter. Certainly not in the last few seasons. Um,
Certainly not on the offensive side of the ball, a particular well, skill positions. Then obviously you looked into a certain quarterback. This all the time happens with him with his drafting. I do think once you start actually going through the defensive record, it isn't that bad. If you take Will Falk, Hightower, and McCourty at any point in your career, that's
sure.
pretty good. That's a pretty good
Sure.
spine of any defense.
Sure. And
Uh,
I think last year when especially with you hit with Christian Barmore and obviously with Ramondre Stevenson, but actually, you go back and you look at Anthony Jennings and Devin Asiasi and Dalton Keene, and
there's some
obviously
brutal ones.
they obviously hit with Onwenu was a really good pick. Carl Duggar obviously a real good pick, but you go back and Nikhil Harry, Jojuan Williams, Chase Winovich, obviously Damian Harris has been a good player. Yodny Kajust. I mean, you just go through and you're just like it's miss after miss after miss. Isaiah Wynn, Sony Michel was off the team in a couple of years. Duke Dawson was off the team. You get Christian Sam, Derek Rivers, Antonio Garcia, Dietrich Wise has been a good player. You go back to 2016 with Cyrus Jones. Obviously, they hit the home run with Joe Tooney, but I just Jordan.
And it's that same thing, right? Of Bill has his own board. Bill doesn't care about anyone else's board. He's going to draft what he drafts. He does not care what you think of your value. And it's that same Mayock thing that the Raiders did for 3-4 years, whatever it was, where it's like, yeah, that is fun when it hits. When you
Yeah,
take Duggar 3 rounds before anyone else and didn't realize Duggar existed, and you took
yeah.
him in they take him the second, third round, and he's really good for you. When you take Clelin Ferrell fourth overall, or it doesn't work out with the 29 names you just listed that have all been not just misses, but like he doesn't even roster them half the time, or they're not active on Sundays because it's that bad.
But what I think is really interesting is that he's managed to get away with taking a Cyrus Jones in the second round, a Vincent Valentine in the third round, because he also got Joe Tooney in that draft. He also got Landon Roberts. He also got Ted Karras, both the latter two 6 rounders. It's like you go back to 2015, he gets away with the fact that he took Malcolm Brown in the first round, Jordan Richards in the second round, and Janaeo Grissom in the third round, because in the fourth round he took Trey Flowers and Shaq Mason and Joe Cardona in the fifth round. He sort of has just been getting away with it. You take Dominic Easley in the first round in 2014, but then you come back with a James White who catches the game winner in overtime in Super Bowl, and Jimmy Garoppolo in the second round. So it's been, and I don't know how much, it's great that you can hit on a Chandler Jones, and a Dante Hightower, or a Nate Solder, or a Devin McCourty and a Rob Gronkowski. But you go back to that draft, and look, I know that you hit on those two players. One's an absolute Hall of Fame lock, and the other probably a Hall of Famer as well. But the rest of that draft is Jermaine Cunningham, Brandon Spikes, Taylor Price, a serial killer in Aaron Hernandez, Zoltan Mesko, Thomas Welsh, Brandon Diedrich, and Zach Robinson. So you're kind of getting away with it because you hit a couple of absolute home runs, but the rest of it is an absolute
Well,
desert.
yeah, when you have the greatest quarterback of all time, it covers up all of the issues until that guy leaves and everyone starts looking around and he's like, shit, I got to spend $200 million in free agency.
Actually, it looks like it was Tom and not Bill after all.
The pair of them. Come on now. The pair of them together. I will say, how long until De'Aaron King becomes the next Julian Edelman? I know you'll have watched him over there in Miami. They called him a quarterback. He'll be playing in the slot for them in 2033 and catching game-winning
He'll be catching
touchdowns.
Super Bowl winning passes, and people will be talking about his Hall of Fame career after switching from receiver, switching from quarterback. Yeah, mad.
And then no one will remember the name Cole Strange. I would love to have been the UT Chattanooga SID the night of that draft, because I think I had two clip sheets in the film file I have access to. I didn't even have the full games. It was a cut up someone had put in there. So I emailed like, hey, shit, I need some Cole Strange film, man.
I loved the Les Snead, Sean McVay video.
How drunk were those guys?
That was absolutely sensational. I mean, I think if they were watching that back the next morning with their hangovers, they'd be looking at that thinking, did we really do that? It wasn't very professional, but it's very funny.
I know I was worried they'd be so hungover they'd still try and draft Cole Strange, and